everyone. Let me introduce the topic of our group project. It's gender differences in perception of women's sexy clothing. Here's the group member. My name is Chen Ziying. In nowadays modern society, it's common that women wear sexy clothing to express their own beauty or to follow the fashion trends. However, different gender might have different views on the women's sexy wearing behavior. The aim of the present study is to examine gender differences in perception of women wearing sexy clothing. Self-administered questionnaire were conducted online in the first week of November to gain information on 16 participants, including 30 females and 30 males from age 20 to 15. The results imply the gap between the male and female group is lessening. Both the group perceive women wearing sexy clothing as a way to show their personal charm and should not change the way they dress because of their others' opinions. However, when it comes to sexual assaults, males consider women dressing sexily will be more easier to encounter assault. Implication of the fighting, gender, the sexual assaults are discussed. Now, let's see what is sexy clothing. This is what I found on Google. Psychology considers sexy clothing that make wearers look appealing by expressing their sexuality rather than limiting it to specific garment styles. But what is sexy clothing? Actually, the idea about sexy clothing can be vary from person to person. To get the answer, generally, we decide the question in our questionnaire. We ask people which dressing style is sexy. Options including low-cut top, tight clothes, hot pants, etc. Nowadays, sexy clothing can be a key tool for women to show their beauty and characteristic of femininity. Here is the data that show how sexy clothing have swept across the globe. The largest cross-border fashion e-commerce company, Shein, reaches the consumer markets in the United States, France, Russia, Germany, and over 20 other countries. Sexy is the key clothing style and one of the metrics of their success. And the influence of the social media and popular icons as well as the fashion trend have tackled into modern women's wardrobe and culture. You can find that these sexy photos attracted millions like, and these celebrities wore what we so-called low-cut top, revealing part of the breast. Although the result from our questionnaire showing that different gender held a similar image of sexy clothing, most male consider about this sexy clothing could lead to rape or related consequences. While female consider sexy clothing highlight the beauty, but also discrimination that sexy wearing could lead to sexual assault. In AB's study, he indicates that female's appearance is emphasized more than male. Women wearing woolen clothes would be more easily marked as seductive and sexy than a man wearing less woolen clothes. Here are some news in recent years. It shows that sexual assaults influenced by sexual clothing influenced by the sexual clothing. For example, why do people blame sexual harassment on women's outfits? it's showing too sexy clothing, so I couldn't control myself. And even some female tourists in India were raped because of they had worn sexy clothing like mini skirts. The attitude concerning crimes related to clothing worn by women was also studied by Amos. He indicated that female wearing sexy-oriented clothes are more likely to be neither robbed or raped, more likely to provoke the attack. Men made decisions about sexual interests that were influenced by sexual clothing. Let's look at these special exhibits. Let's look at these special exhibits. Major conflicts of different gender involving women's sexy clothing behavior. Clothing can be used as a cue to sexual information and even sexual violence. Actually, females consider it his desire to be fashionable or the way to show femininity. Male fail to distinguish this kind of behavior and misconceive it to be intended seductive behavior for sex. Although some misleading information are soon being correct, some are not may lead to rape or sexual harassment. Let's have a glimpse in this what were you wearing exhibits. My commissionary companion and I were coded outside our apartment in the early evening by the group of thugs. He escaped. I was abducted, raped, and left in a roadside beach outside the town where we were living. I was wearing a suit, white shirt, tie, and my shoes and socks. I was raped when I was 16. A sophomore in high school, I was wearing dark blue skinny jeans, a dark maroon t-shirt, white sneaker, and gray sweatshirt. And this, I was raped when I was 16. Yeah. So we have two hypotheses in our study. Male tend to mock sexy clothing behavior as indecent. Male may against sexy clothing because it is a sign of immoral behavior. Now let's take a look at the next parts.
Okay, let's turn to the next part. Hello everyone, my name is Xu Xiaoquan. The next part is method, which is divided into 4 parts: design, participant, material, and procedures. Design is to describe the experimental design. Participant describes the characteristic of participants such as age, gender, and number. Material are description of material used such as word list, mobile phone, and computer. Procedure are description of procedures followed when conducting research. Okay, let's continue this page. The decision parts focus on 4 main parts: research method, experiment, ICQ, and the questionnaire content. In the first part of research method, we use the questionnaire in quality research. Although in the most cases, questionnaires are one of the quantity research methods, data analysis is required based on the research resource, such as SPSS data analysis. However, since the purpose of our research is to find out the different genders' attitudes of women wearing revealing style clothing, we are more focused on tracking the causal process of one or more samples. Therefore, we did not design a scale to design online questionnaires, but instead asked the detail to understand the reason behind the participant view and attitudes. ICQ considerations were probably followed. Before giving the questionnaire, the participant were asked to sign the form agreeing to assign the survey, and the personal information of participant was kept confidential through all the study. Some of the content in the questionnaire, including the definition and opinion of women wearing sexy style clothing, and whether women wearing revealing clothes will increase chance of being assaulted and bring sexual sexual innuendo to men, and whether it is related to her morality. And the topic setting includes single chance and multiple chance questions. Okay, the next part to talk about is participant and materials. A total of 65 questionnaires were distributed in this experimental. 5 of them were invalid sample because they are not signed the survey consent form, so they were deleted from the final data. Among the 65 value sample, 30 men and women each accounted for 50%. The age range of participants is 20 to 50 years old, and they are divided into 3 groups: 20 to 13 years old, 31 to 14 years old, and 41 to 50 years old. Participant age 20 to 30 accounted for 80 of the total number, including 26 women and 22 men. Participants aged 31 to 14 accounted for only 5% of the total number, include 3 men but no women. 41 and 15 years old participants accounted for 15 of the total, including 4 women and 5 men. The material used are very simple. We use the computer website questionnaire star to make online questionnaire, and then distribute them to the participants for mobile phone.
And let's see the most important part. Men and women felt that women's intention for wearing revealing style clothes were significantly different. Men choose showing personal charism the most, while women choose personal preference the most. There are some differences between different genders as to the reason for women wearing sexy clothes. 70% of men choose influenced by Chinese traditional culture and the education level. They thought these 2 reasons are equally important. In contrast, only 53% of women choose the education level option. Hello, my name is Du Kexin, and from a social cultural gender perspective, sexual harassment is a consequence of gender role socialization process that promote male dominance. Traditional gender roles also give males greater social cultural power relative to females, such that males may harass female peers and females with equal or greater formal power than themselves. Before our discussion, let's watch a video.
Sexual harassment is a type of bullying intended to hurt or intimidate someone. It can include making sexual jokes, comments, or gestures to or about someone, spreading sexual rumors in person, by text, or online, writing sexual messages about people on bathroom stalls or in other public places, showing someone inappropriate sexual pictures or videos, touching, grabbing, or pinching someone in a deliberately sexual way, asking someone to send you naked pictures of herself or himself, pulling at someone's clothing, and brushing up against someone in a purposefully sexual way. If you're being harassed, don't blame yourself. The idea that someone was asking for it because of something they did, said, or were wearing is false and unacceptable. It often can be helpful to start by telling the person doing the harassing to stop. Let him or her know that this behavior is not okay with you. If that doesn't stop the harassment, don't just ignore the behavior. Usually, ignoring it won't make it stop. Instead, tell a trusted adult about it. Telling someone sooner leads to faster results. You should keep a record of the events that have happened. That way you'll have them if your school or family has to take legal action. Remember, no one has the right to sexually harass or bully anyone else, no matter what.
The results of this survey seem different from the hypothesis. Most of the men are against this revealing dressing style, while women regard this dressing style as a way to show their charming. However, the survey results that there is no significant gender difference in the perception of women who wearing sexy clothing. In general, both men and women have no obvious bias or negative perception when looking at revealing clothing. From the questionnaire result, most people consider this to be a revealing style of dress if women show a lot of skin on their breasts and legs. The majority of participants believe that women were wearing sexy clothes to show their personal attractiveness, and dressing style is not related to their moral character. Most people have heard of women being sexually assaulted because of sex clothing, and more men believe that women wearing revealing clothes would increase the probability of being sexually assaulted. This result consistent with previous research, which proposed that there is a relationship between women's attractive physical appearance and the probability of being sexually assaulted. Most people believe that traditional Chinese culture influenced the perception of sex clothing. In Chinese traditional culture, which emphasizes conservatism, some people, especially men and elder, may perceive sexy as erotic. The results show a higher acceptance of sex dressing among men. We attribute this trend to the fact that most of participants are young people between 20 and 30 years old who are becoming more receptive to a variety of dress style due to their increased education and integration with Western culture, and their aesthetic standards have changed. Let's look at our questionnaires. And there is our limitation. After reviewing the whole survey, we found that the set of questions seems a little general, especially the option should be more detailed and attach some pictures to illustrate. Also, designing open-ended questions and interviewing several participants can be better understand their perception of sexy clothing. From the analyzed report, the results show a higher acceptance of sex dressing among men. And we think the reason of this insignificant sex difference in the age is the age group of participants. Although the number of male and female participants were purposefully selected, we should distribute it averagely to all age groups when we send the questionnaire to the participants. This is the end of our presentation.
Thanks for watching.